Hello, this is Ms. McLean, and I'm going to look at a couple of homework questions from Chapter 2, Section 1. Now, your homework might not have 11 questions, by the way. I'm only doing a couple from this homework to help you out with any questions you might have. So let's look at this particular homework question. We have hospital admissions. The following frequency distribution presents the 5 most frequent reasons for hospital admissions in U.S. community hospitals in a recent year. So here we have some data that were presented, and then we're going to answer some questions based off of that data. So it says construct a relative frequency distribution, round the answers to 2 decimal places, okay? So this means that we need to know how to calculate relative frequency. So to calculate relative frequency, we take the frequency and we divide it by the total. And it looks like for this particular problem, they don't give us the total, okay? So I've got my handy dandy calculator out, and I'm just going to add up in my calculator all of the frequencies that we are given here. Okay, so as I'm adding up, I think you should be adding up with your calculator as well. And let's see if our answers match. All right, so the total I am getting is 8,099. Okay, so we definitely want to write that down, because now to find the relative frequency, we're going to take the first frequency, 887, and we're going to divide it by that total of 8,099. Okay, so again, we're doing that in our calculator. We have to round to 2 decimal places. So that means my solution that I'm getting in my calculator is 0.11 after doing some rounding. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for the coronary. So we're going to take 1372. So the next frequency, divide by the total, 8,099. Round 2 decimal places, and I am getting 0.17. Right, up next, heart attack, same thing, 552 divided by 8,099. Round 2 decimal places, 0.07. Right, infant birth, 4,152. Just divide that by 8,099. Round 2 decimal places, 0.51. And let's take a look at the last one, pneumonia. Round 2 decimal places, 0.14. Right, so next blank, they're asking for the totals. So that means we want to take all of our frequencies and add them up. And actually, when you do this, you're supposed to get 1, right? So I think it's asking you to kind of double check things. And sure enough, if you add up the relative frequencies, you should get 1, right? So let's go ahead and check so we can move on to part 2. So part 2, now we're going to construct our frequency bar graph. So that means we are going to take our frequency and we're going to make the graph match it. Okay, so I'm just clicking and then dragging to where we're matching that frequency. Okay, so our next one, 0.17. Or it looks like you might better type it. Yeah, so it looks like you might better type it. It's kind of up to you what route you want to take. If the typing is not available, then you are going to have to click and drag. Let's click and drag this one. Right, so let's see, we want to go all the way to 51, and I just unclick to release it. Then our last one, 0.14. 0.14. There we go. And let's go ahead and check. And of course, you do have some buttons here if you want to erase your graph. Perfect. Right. So that is how the relative frequency problem is done.